Why did our wedding end with 2 divorces? Our wedding photographer gave us this crazy good deal with half price, good photos in his portfolio, and availability on our date. When we met him, he spent forever going through our guest list and seating chart. He said, "I like to know who's who, so I can get the best candid shots of family interactions." My fiancé thought he was just thorough, but something felt weird about how interested he was in the family dynamics. When I asked why he needed to photograph our seating chart, he said he wanted to remember who sat where for the album. My family seemed perfect from the outside. My parents had been married 30 years and still acted happy together. My husband's parents, Robert and Susan, had been married even longer at 35 years. They lived 2 towns over, and we'd been doing monthly dinners since my husband and I got engaged 2 years ago. At our rehearsal dinner, both sets of parents were getting along great. My mom said, "I'm so glad our kids found each other." Susan said, "Me too. It's like we gained a daughter." Robert raised his glass and said, "To new family bonds." My dad added, "And to parents who finally get to relax while the kids plan everything." Everyone laughed. My mom and Robert ended up talking for an hour about their shared love of gardening while my dad and Susan discussed their golf games. The wedding day arrived, and the photographer was everywhere with his camera. He said, "I want to capture every single moment, even the ones you don't know are happening." He kept disappearing to get different angles. During the ceremony, he climbed up to the church balcony for aerial shots. At the reception, he was constantly moving around getting candids of people talking and dancing. He spent a lot of time photographing the cocktail hour while we were taking formal photos with the wedding party. During dinner, both fathers gave beautiful toasts. Robert said, "Marriage is about trust and honesty above all else." My dad said, "And never going to bed angry, even if you stay up all night arguing about who forgot to take out the trash." Everyone laughed, and both moms wiped away tears. The photographer was right there capturing everything. After dinner, the photographer said he wanted to do something special. He asked, "Can I show some raw preview shots from today during dessert?" Everyone always wants to see the photos right away. We thought it was sweet of him. He said, "These aren't edited yet, but I thought you'd enjoy seeing some moments from today." At exactly 8 p.m., the lights dimmed, and the photographer connected his laptop to the projector. Beautiful photos started appearing on the screen. Our first look, the ceremony, people crying happy tears. Everyone was saying how talented he was. Then he said, "Sometimes I capture things people don't realize, so let me know if any of these should be deleted." The next photo showed the cocktail hour. My mom and Robert were behind the main tent, and his hand was on her lower back. The next photo showed them kissing. The room went completely silent. The photographer looked confused and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to include those." But more photos kept auto-advancing. Mom and Robert sneaking out of the coat room together. Them in a dark corner with her hand on his chest. Them walking toward the parking lot holding hands. The timestamp showed it was during the mother-son dance when everyone was watching my husband and Susan. My dad stood up slowly, and Susan's face went completely white. The photographer was frantically trying to stop the slideshow, but it kept going. The last photo showed Mom and Robert in his car with her wedding ring visible as she kissed him. The photographer finally yanked his laptop cord out, and the screen went black. He said, "I'm so sorry. I had no idea what I was capturing." The room stayed dead silent until my dad said in a voice I'd never heard before, "What the hell is this?" My mom started to speak but couldn't form words. Robert stood up and said, "Everyone, please, we can explain." Susan laughed, but it sounded more like a sob and said, "Explain what exactly? That you're having an affair with her?" My husband hadn't moved or said anything until that moment, and then he stood up and said, "Dad, at my wedding? At my wedding?" My mom finally spoke and said, "It just happened. We didn't plan this." My dad walked over to Robert and said, "30 years of marriage and you do this to me?" Susan turned to my mom and said, "We welcomed you into our family. We trusted you." Then she looked at the photographer and said, "Please tell me you have all those photos saved." The photographer nodded and said he always backs everything up. Susan said, "Good, because I'll need them for my lawyer." My dad said, "Mine too." They walked out together while Mom called after Dad, but he didn't turn around. My husband looked at his father with complete disgust and said, "Don't ever contact me again." 2 divorces were finalized in 4 months. The photographer gave us everything free and testified in court. My husband and I completely cut off my mom and his dad. We're actually stronger than ever because we went through this together. Last week we found out we're having a baby, and we couldn't be happier.